Hi everybody, Ashley Vaughn here with Trafalgar. Let's take a ride on one of my favorite vacations, Spanish Wonder. I want to tell you all about the cool things that you get to do on this fabulous itinerary and why enjoying Spain with Trafalgar and Echevarria travel is absolutely the best way for you to go. So let's get started. For those of you who may not know who Trafalgar is, we're all about authentic experiences. Sure, you can go to Spain, you can do it on your own, you can go from city to city and get a flavor for what Spain has to offer. But what we've done at Trafalgar is taken 70 years of experience to create vacations that are absolutely one of a kind, chock full of authentic activities that you can't experience anywhere else in the world or with anyone else. What we like to do is focus on what truly makes a destination special and unique, and we want to bring you the secrets of that destination. Things that would be impossible for you to find if you went by yourself, and things that you'll enjoy when you're traveling with your friends, family, and some new friends from all over the world. These authentic experiences really make your vacation unforgettable, and they're the things that you're going to go back and in 2, 3, 5 years still remember about your vacation on Spanish Wonder throughout the south of Spain. Trafalgar has a 97% satisfaction rate, and that's not just me saying that Trafalgar's awesome, and it's not our guests that are leaving candid reviews that we're filtering through. This is actually reviews from people who have traveled with us, the good and the bad, all going onto our website. So you can really trust what somebody who just took this trip had to say about it and know that you're on one of the best vacation experiences through Spain. Our promise is to deliver authentic, effortless, and fun vacations. You're going to have a great time as you sit back and relax, leave all the driving and the heavy lifting to us, and we're going to take you to explore parts of Spain that you've never even heard of or are aware of. It's going to be such an amazing time. So where do we go exactly? We're going to be taking an amazing vacation called Spanish Wonder. I have been fortunate enough to travel on this vacation, and it was fabulous. Spain was one of those destinations that I've always been a little bit intrigued by, but I absolutely fell in love with it when I went. So much so that I'm going again this summer, and I can't wait. Spanish Wonder is a really great trip because it is all the highlights of Spain, some of the best parts put together, and a great 9-day vacation. So you're going to start in Madrid, and from Madrid you're going to take a day trip to the cool city of Toledo. Toledo is a beautiful little village just north of Madrid, and the cathedral we're going to walk through, and this is an area that's really known to be related to El Greco, the painter. Now, El Greco was millennia ahead of his time. He wasn't truly appreciated as a fine artist until much, much later, and El Greco actually inspired the new art traditions of people like Picasso and Gauguin. He was revolutionary, and he is featured prominently throughout the town of Toledo. So you'll go and explore the cathedral, you'll get to walk the winding streets of this medieval town and see some of the sights of El Greco. Going in through Spain, one of the highlights for me was really the architecture. It's such an interesting blend of styles and ages, because Spain at one point was very European, it's very Northern African, so you're going to see influences in every building that you visit. This building was really unique because it was at one time a synagogue, a mosque, and a Catholic church. And you see the history and the layers of the history within this building itself. From the roof that is in a very Roman Catholic style to the characters of Judaism that are on the wall, and then all of the Moorish influence through the windows and the art motifs that you're going to see throughout the architecture. It's really fascinating to be in a country that blends all of these so well together. You're also going to get to do a walking trip around with our local specialists and hear stories about unique sights through the village, like these chains. These were all the chains that the Crusaders wore when they were captured by the North Africans and returned to Spain. And so when they came home, their chains were then attached to the front of the church as a reminder to everybody of the Crusades and the campaign of Catholicism to spread around the world. You're also going to get to just walk through and enjoy the beautiful scenery of Spain. Now, a lot of people ask, when is the best time to go? The summer is incredibly warm in Spain. It's going to be very hot, around mid-80s to mid-90s, and it's a very dry heat. Spain is almost desert-like in some areas. So if you're looking for something that's a little bit more comfortable, maybe considering the spring and the fall is a great time. But going in the summer is really the best because you have so much daylight. It's not that uncomfortable because Spain is a country where they truly do still do siestas. So in the afternoon from about 12 to 2, all the shops shut down, all the restaurants shut down. Everybody goes inside and has a cool drink and relaxes and gets ready for some more excitement throughout the evening and the afternoon, whether it's going shopping or doing sightseeing and really enjoying the culture. Now, you may know of Spain for certain things, sunflowers, wine, but a lot of people know Spain for one famous story, and that's Don Quixote. And you're going to see sights of Don Quixote throughout the countryside. This is actually a wonderful statue dedicated to Don Quixote and his faithful follower Pancho, and it's a statue that's located in the center of Madrid. So as you're walking around enjoying the city center, we have a local specialist who's going to take you through and tell you all the cool stories about what's happening in the city of Madrid. And we stop at this park where you get to enjoy the statue, enjoy some of the scenery and the surroundings. It's a really popular place with the locals. They come out and you really get to rub elbows with those from Madrid. You're also going to see sites like the Royal Palace. When I went to Spain, it was in a very tumultuous time. And so as we were riding around with our local specialist, she was telling us amazing stories that I truly will never forget. You would see Spanish flags that kind of looked like the flag, but they were a little bit different because they had purple on them. So as we were asking the specialist what was that all about, she was telling us that the people of Spain were in a way protesting their royal family and protesting their government. Because recently what had happened was the King of Spain was caught to be doing some things that were not so upstanding. He was supposedly on a hunting trip in Africa, and his mistress was there with him. And this came out in the local tabloids, and it really made people upset that the royal family was really flaunting their money and being wasteful when the country was in some tough economic times. Now, things have changed in Spain since I was last there, so your stories will be completely different based on what's going on right now throughout the country. But those are the kinds of insights that you get when you travel with somebody who's from each of these towns and really knows the current happenings, whether it's political, social, or just really interesting, funny inside stories. As you enjoy Madrid, you're going to have lots of time to go out in the evening. And another thing that Spain's really known for is tapas. This is in Plaza Mayor, which is the major square of Madrid, and there are tons of squares and great places to hang out. There's lots of great little cafes where you can sit down and have some manchego cheese and some Iberian ham, sample some delicious red wines, and just snack around with your new friends that you're going to meet. It's a great way to really enjoy the culture and do something that's very different from other places in the world. The markets in both Madrid and Barcelona are fantastic. They have tons of different stalls with cheeses and fruits and vegetables. You'll see people shaving the ham right off the legs of the animal and packaging it. It really is the place to go to get some fresh produce, sample the local delicacies, and we even take you there with our travel directors and give you kind of a lay of the land before we let you go and explore all the great food stalls. From Madrid, you're going to go down into Seville, and you're going to stop along the way because Andalusia, which is the area between Madrid and Seville, is Don Quixote country. So instead of just making a little pit stop anywhere to refresh yourself, use the restroom, get a snack, we're actually going to stay at the cafe that is thought to be where Don Quixote actually visited. So there's a great sign and story about Don Quixote and statues. Again, this is Don Quixote country. So if you're into the literary aspect of Spain, this is an awesome part of the trip for you. You see the little church that's nearby. It's very scenic, and all of the things that are attributed to Don Quixote in the Andalusia area. This is also an area that's known for great wine production. So being able to sample a little glass of wine as you take a small break between Madrid and Seville is not a bad way to spend an afternoon. You're going to make a stop in one of my favorite areas, and that's Cordoba. Cordoba is such a cool little town, and it's really known for its church, which is also a mosque. And you're going to go through this area and really get the stories of this truly remarkable building. It's really remarkable. You've probably recognized all of these beautiful arches, and this is the Cathedral of the Caliphs. And this is very Moorish in architecture. But you can also see these beautiful columns in the front, and that's because this area was originally settled by Romans, ancient Romans. So as you walk into the building, you can look through the floor and see some of the ancient Roman ruins that are underneath the building, which is really fantastic. Then as you walk through, you're going to see how they blend this Moorish culture with the Catholic religion that eventually takes over in Spain. And I didn't think anything captured this blend better than this picture. You can see it literally is a Catholic church inside of a Moorish cathedral area. So you have all the beautiful columns with the red and the white, which is religiously significant. And right next to it, you have the statues depicting some of the saints from the Bible. And it really is just like walking out a doorway from one religion into another, which is really amazing. The grounds and the gardens there are gorgeous. There's lots of great history. And right outside of this area, you have some great shops. So you can grab an ice cream, have a cold bottle of water, wander the streets before we all come together and we travel on to our next location. From there, we're going to go into the beautiful city of Seville. Seville is fantastic because it is a gorgeous town right on the water, on a river, and it is just absolutely stunning with the different buildings that are there. The way that the sunlight hits it when you're there during a sunset is really spectacular. Seville is also where they held one of the World's Fairs, and so as part of some of the sites that we visit, you're going to get to go to the Plaza de España, and this is really an area that is related to the World's Fair. You have all these gorgeous buildings with these different kinds of architecture, and you're going to get to enjoy these sites in Seville. The Plaza de España, of course, is the main pavilion representing Spain that's left over from the World's Fair. So you have a couple of pavilions that are still left, like the one for Colombia, for instance, and we'll take you around to see those, but really the crowning glory of Seville is the Plaza de España, with this gorgeous bridge. Each one of the spindles on the bridge is Spanish tile, beautiful blue and white decoration. You see all of the territories that were attributed to Spain at one time are represented in this plaza. It's a beautiful bridge that goes over this little canal. It's just one of the most iconic sites of Spain, and it's a very, very beautiful place to spend a little bit of time and enjoy yourself. You're also going to get to go through a walking tour of a little area called Las Casas de la Juderia, and this is the Jewish quarter of Seville. This is a beautiful story about a servant girl who falls in love with the prince or the sultan, and they love each other, but it's a true Cinderella story, right? She's a servant, they can never be together, but his love for her is so great that he will move heaven and earth just to be with Itimad, the love of his life. And so this was just a beautiful story from this area that was captured in, again, those gorgeous Spanish tiles. But the Jewish quarter, Las Casas de la Juderia, is an area of buildings that have been put together. It's where the Jewish would have lived when you had these Jewish ghettos set up, and it's by no means a dilapidated area. It's beautiful because it has all of these little walking streets covered in bougainvillea. There's little shops and cafes. Again, you can get an ice cream. And here's some of the other beautiful stories about this fantastic area. It's right across from the cathedral. And so when we talk about a vacation that is effortless, this is a great example in Spain of how we're helping you get that VIP entry into some cool places. The cathedral in Seville is fantastically popular. And so as you can see, the lines can get quite long. So we go in when we know other groups are not going to be in the area, and we actually get into a special entrance where we can go in and we can see the major claim to fame of Seville, and that is the burial site of Christopher Columbus, supposedly. Now there's some debate whether Christopher Columbus is actually buried in Seville or in the Dominican Republic, but he does have a tomb with statues here in the cathedral in Seville. His son is also buried in this cathedral as well. So it's a really cool place to visit, and when we were there, we went early in the morning, we skipped all the lines, got right in, saw the beautiful cathedral, and then we were able to go off and explore some more of Seville on our own. From Seville, you can also do a visit to the Alcazar. For you Game of Thrones fans, you'll probably know this as Dorne. So this is an optional activity that we provide guests in the morning while we're in Seville. From Seville, you're also going to get to enjoy what we call a Be My Guest experience. So when I traveled to Spain, we met this wonderful family who has this fantastic hacienda out in the countryside, and they actually produce olive oil. And that's kind of their claim to fame. That's how they've made their money. And so we went out to their hacienda, and the daughter of the family was explaining to us, exactly how they made their money and how they raise the olives and all of the things that they do with her family's company. But she doesn't speak English, so our travel director, Rafael, actually translated for us. And then we got to go through her house, which is this beautiful little home, and we got to have a welcome drink. We saw her grandmother in one of the rooms sewing, and it was just a beautiful glimpse into their everyday life. From Seville, we traveled down to really a highlight for me in Spain, and that was Granada. Granada is home to the Alhambra Palace, which is very iconic, and it was a very spiritual experience for me. It's tranquil, and it's very different, and the architecture as you go through is fantastic. But the history of the Alhambra Palace is really amazing as well. Now, Granada in Spanish means pomegranate. So you'll see the namesake trees as you walk through the Generalife Gardens up to the entrance of the Alhambra Palace. And then we're going to go through the palace itself. Now, as I mentioned, Spain is incredibly hot in the summer. And one of the things that the people figured out is when you have moving water, you can create breezes. And so as you go through the Alhambra Palace, you're going to see these wonderful water features, these fountains. And they are going to really be how the people would circulate the air through these pretty hot temperatures. So as you can see, you get to really hear these great stories. The Alhambra Palace, some don't realize, is also where Christopher Columbus petitioned Queen Isabella of Spain to be able to sail and discover the New World. So you get to see the spot where he asked her permission to represent Spain and discover the Americas. Later that evening, we had a free evening, and we were looking for something unique to do. And our travel director, Rafael, really knew how much we loved eating and just sampling the local delicacies. And he told us about this amazing restaurant that, as you can see, overlooks the Alhambra Palace at night. It's all lit up, it's gorgeous. We had a delicious dinner, and Rafael not only suggested this restaurant, he also called a taxi and made reservations for us. And that was just really fantastic because we probably wouldn't have found this restaurant on our own. We might have been able to look it up through Yelp. I don't speak very good Spanish, so I don't know if I could tell a taxi driver how to get there or how to get back. So it was really cool to be able to have this unique experience, all because our travel director got to know exactly what we like to do and really suggested this as something he thought we would enjoy. So we had a wonderful dinner that evening in Granada, just my independent friends that came with us, and enjoyed overlooking the beautiful Alhambra Palace. We left Granada and we went up to Valencia, which can be kind of a long drive, and so we stopped in this really cool town called Godí. Godí is really interesting because the people actually live in caves. So they've dug through the cave side and they've built their homes, and we stop here to not only get a glimpse of something that's really different, very unique to see people who live in caves. You can actually go into one of the homes, see how the people live, see how they created the cave homes, and it was a nice way to break up the drive between Granada and Valencia. We arrived in Valencia and we saw the most amazing place. So this is the Museum of Technology and Oceanography. It's also their opera house and an IMAX theater. So it's this whole technological area, and you may recognize it from movies like Tomorrowland. A lot of films are made here, television shows, because it is just the craziest architecture. Valencia is on the coast and it's known for paella. It's known for delicious seafood dishes. It's got a very unique flavor to it compared to the places that you've been on this trip so far. You know, Madrid has that capital city feel. Seville has that classic Spanish feel. You visit the areas related to Don Quixote. You go into Granada, which feels like a North African country. And now you get into Valencia, which feels like a beach town. It's got this cool mix of history. It's where the 4 ruling houses of Spain eventually come together. And it's just a really unique setting within the country of Spain. It's also known for a local delicacy called horchata. So horchata, as Raphael explained to us, is a milk-like drink that's made from tiger nuts. And tiger nuts are grown in the Valencia area. They have turned it into a beverage that has a somewhat like a cinnamon nutmeg flavor to it. And so one of the treasures that Raphael took us to was actually the oldest horchateria in Spain. It's been there since about 1000 AD, and they have been serving horchata ever since. So we got to sample the drink, we got to see the beautiful building. It was just a really cool afternoon to try something truly different than anything I've ever had before. And then as we wound up our trip to Spain, and as you wind up your trip through Spanish Wonder, you're going to visit the wonderful town of Barcelona. Barcelona is truly special. It is a seaside town, everything is within walking distance, and it's got, again, a really unique mix of architecture and stories. The cathedral in Barcelona, La Sagrada de Familia, has been under construction for 1,000 years, and they're still building on it. It is a remarkable structure and really a highlight of the city. Going into places like Park Güell, where they have wonderful tile installations mixed into the hillsides, walking the area of Las Ramblas, where you have all the shops and the cafes. It's a really awesome mix of unique architecture, some unique art, and the people and the culture of Spain coming together. Pictures of Park Güell, as you can see, really special area. It overlooks the city of Barcelona, right on the coastline. From here you can also do a day trip to Montserrat, which is really special. And you're also going to be able to see some of the other unique architecture of Barcelona with the buildings that have been put together by Gaudi. So if you've never seen architecture from Gaudi, it really is different. There are no straight lines in Gaudi's architecture. So when you look, everything's curved. It's always got an arc to it. This one is the dragon's mouth. It looks like a dragon opening its teeth showing, and it's just a really eclectic building, and he has several buildings throughout the city of Barcelona. So traveling to Spain is truly amazing, but why should you consider now your trip for next year? Well, Echevarria Travel has put together a group leaving for Spain in 2018. It's a really popular destination though, so you want to make sure you lock in your space as soon as possible. And when you lock it in now, you're not only making sure you have a spot on the trip, but you're also going to be able to save 10% with our early payment discount. So you definitely want to reach out to Cheryl and get your space secured on the 2018 Spanish Wonder Group traveling, because it is going to be a vacation of a lifetime. You really are going to have some amazing, memorable experiences throughout a truly beautiful country. Please don't miss out. Make sure you call Cheryl today and secure your spot. Let's go!